Hello everyone, I'm Frank and welcome to Frank Puzzles, and this is today's easy level puzzle for the day. And take that easiness with a grain of salt because it's considered easy by the people on the Logic Masters Germany forum, and there's a lot of really smart people there. Today's puzzle is called No, 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 and it's by Whoop. And here are the rules. Standard Sudoku rules apply, which means fill the entire grid with the digits 1 through 9 without repeats in any row, column, or box. Digits on a light brown prime lines alternate between prime digits and non-prime digits. The prime digits are 2, 3, 5, 7, and the non-prime digits are 1, 4, 6, 8, and 9. No, 1 is not a prime number, which is probably the reasoning for his title of No, No, No. No, 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 1 is not a prime, and actually you have a crossed out 1, or a crossed out 1, which is saying 1 is not a prime number here. So 1 is not a prime number. So on the brown prime lines, you'll alternate between the set of prime digits, which are 2, 3, 5, 7, and the set of non-prime digits, 1, 4, 6, 8, 9. So if this were a prime digit, say it was 3, this would have to be a non-prime digit, which could be 1, right? Or 4, 6, 8, and 9. And that's how the brown prime lines work. We also have box borders divide the blue line into segments of the same sum of values. So specifically, the box borders, which are these heavier dark black lines, heavier black lines, I guess I should say, those divide the blue line into segments which must sum to the same value. So this is a segment because the box borders divides that into a segment. This is a separate segment. So, and these 3 digits are a separate segment, and these 3 digits are a separate segment. So these 3 digits must sum to the same value that these 3 digits on this segment must sum up to, which must sum up to the same as this digit sums up to, which must sum up to the same as this digit sums up to. And that's how, and these are called region sum lines. So that's how those region sum lines works. And then finally, we have, these are called crop key dots, where digits and cells separated by a black dot are in a 2-to-1 ratio, and digits and cells separated by a white dot are consecutive, and not all dots are necessarily given. And again, these are known as crop key dots. I'm not really sure why, actually. Maybe someone who came up with it, maybe just, I don't know, a prior name transitioned for it. But if this were, say, a 2, this would have to be a 1 or a 4 to make sure that this stays as a 1-to-2 ratio between them. If this were, say, a 6, this would have to be a 5 or a 7 to make sure that these digits are consecutive with each other. And that's how crop key dots work. And those are the rules. If you like to play along, there's going to be a link in the description. And now, I'm going to get started. Let's go. Okay, we have 3 cells which are separated by 2 crop key dots, which means one is in a 1-to-2. One digit here is in a 1-to-2 ratio with 2 other digits. The only 2 digits that can be in a 1-to-2 ratio with 2 other digits are 2 and 4. So this is 2 and 4. It's in a 1-to-2 ratio with 1, 2, 4, 8. This is 1, 2, 4, 8. Okay, so we know on this prime lines number, you'll alternate between prime numbers and non-prime numbers. Well, this is either 1 and 4 here, or this is 2 and 8 here. Wait, can that work? Right. 2 is a prime number. So if this is 2, and this would have to be 4, and then that would be 8, that does not work, right? Because if this is 2, this is 4, this is 8. 2 is a prime number. It has to be next to a non-prime number, which would then have to be next to a prime number, but 8 is not a prime number. So that doesn't work. Whereas 1 and 4 are both non-prime numbers. So that works for this situation. Therefore, the prime numbers, which we're going to make, I don't know, we're going to make that red, have to be here. So this is 2, this is 1 and 4. This is 1 and 4, and this must be 2. So the 2 is a prime number. I guess we'll make it blue, because, and this must be blue, because it's next to a non-prime number on the prime line. Same here. We always alternate, so now we know where all the prime digits are. All the prime digits are here. This must be a non-prime number. These must be, this is a non-prime number. These 3 must be prime numbers. And then we have another, these 3 being non-prime. These 3 are prime numbers. And these 3 are non-prime. And this must be a prime number. Okay, so this is a non-prime number. This is a prime number. We have 3 prime numbers already in row 7. Does that help us much? Not particularly. Well, actually, we know these prime numbers have to be odd, because the only prime numbers now available are the odd ones in row 7, which is 3, 5, and 7. Therefore, the digit they're next to must be non-prime, because they have to be an even digit, and there can't be 2. So this is not prime, this is not prime. It also is an even digit, so this is even. It has to then be 4 or 6, because these 3 digits add up to 1 digit here. The minimum would be 1, 2, and 3, but so that would add up to 6. But the problem is, if this digit is a 6, or if this is 7, 7, only 3 unique digits can ever add up to 6 or 7. Therefore, and 4 of these would have to be adding up to that digit, which is not allowed. So this cannot be 6 or 7. This has to be 8 or 9 here. If it's 2 with 4, this must be 3, because you can't have 2, 2, and 4. If this is 2 and 6, this must be 1. So either way, this is 1 or 3. The digits next to it would have to be 2 or 4. This is, well, we don't know what that is. It's prime or it's composite. Either way, they add up to 9. So this is a 9, this is a 9. Actually, not composite. It's basically non-prime. So these are non-prime. This is 9. It cannot be 1, 3, and 5 here. So there must be a 2 somewhere here. It's either 1, 2, 6 or 3, 4, 5. Sorry, not 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4. This must be a prime number. Again, it can be 1, 2, 6 or 2, 3, 4. So this can only be 2 or 3, right? Because 1's not prime, 4's not prime, and 6 isn't prime. So if this were 3, I guess it could be 4 here. No, but if this is 3 and this is 4, this would then be 2, but you don't have a 3 available to add up to 9. So that would break. So this cannot be 3 and 4. If this is 3 and 2, that would break this cell from having any possibilities. So this can never be 3. This must always be 1, which forces this to be 2, which makes that a 3, which makes that a 4. Therefore, this is a 1, which makes that a 4. This must be then a 6. This 6 is consecutive with 5 or 7, which are both prime. The 2 is prime. The 1, 4, and 9 are not. This is prime, so it's 3, 5, or 7, which must be next to 4 or 8 here. Right, because it cannot be 6. Okay. This is a prime number, as is this, but we don't know if there's a 2 there. Okay, so there are all 2 remaining primes in column 5, which means the remaining digits are not prime. So these are not prime. This must be 5 or 7, and this is 5 or 7. The remaining digits in the non-prime are 6 and 8 and 6 and 8. This is not prime, but that doesn't guarantee anything here. This prime could be next to another prime if it's 2. This is 6 or 8, but it cannot be 6 because of that 6, so this must be 8. Which means, where is the 6 in box 5? It has to be here, and therefore this is not prime. These 2 must be prime and is a 5, 7 pair. We have 5 non-primes in row 4, and this must be 8. So that leaves the rest being prime numbers. So this is prime, and this is prime. This could be, and we have 5 non-prime numbers in box 8, which eliminates non-prime numbers in that box. So this must be prime. Cannot be 5 or 7, so this is 2 or 3. But it can't be 2. It can't be 5 or 7 because of the 5, 7 pair in the column. So this can't be 2 either. It must be 3. So this is 3. This must be 5 or 7, which means the digit consecutive with it would be non-prime because it has to be composite. It has to be even, 4, 6, or 8. This could actually be a 2, so we don't know if that's prime or non-prime. This digit must be 4, 6, or 8. We have 3, 5, or 7 in these 2 cells. This can't be 8 anymore, so this must be a 6, which makes that an 8. That makes this a 9. This composite digit, or this non-prime digit, is 1 or 4. And we have 1, 2, or 4 in the remaining cells in the column. Okay. This non-prime, we have 5 non-primes in row 4, which means all the rest of the digits are prime. So this is prime, this is prime, this is prime, and this is prime. The remaining digits here are 1 and 7. As non-prime, or sorry, not 1 and 7, 1 and 6. Okay, so that's very different. This is 1 or 6, this is 1 or 6. The 1 could be in a 1 to 2 ratio with 2. And the 6 would be in a 1 to 2 ratio with 3. They both have to connect to a prime. If this is 2, this would have to be 3 then. If this is 3, it would have to be 2, because 4 is not a prime. So either way, both of these are prime. We now have 4 primes in row 3, which eliminates prime numbers in that row. So this has to be non-prime, non-prime. These are non-prime. We also have a 2, 3 pair, which eliminates 2 and 3 in the rest of the row. So this can't be 3. This can't be 2. This then has to be 3, because where else is the 3 in box 2? And this has to be 2, because where else can the 2 be in box 2? So this is 2, this is 3. This is a prime number, so it has to be 5 or 7, which must be next to 4, 6, or 8 here. So if this is 3, this is 2, this is 1. If this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. So either way, this is a non-prime number, and we have a 1, 4, 1, 4 pair in row 2, which eliminates 1 and 4 from the rest of the row. Well, for this black crop key dot, you can't have an 8, so there's no 4, 8. You can't have 1 or 4, so that eliminates 2, 4, and 1, 2. The only 2 digits that now are in a 1 to 2 ratio here are 3 and 6. So this is 3 and 6 here, which eliminates 3 and 6 in the rest of the row and the rest of the box. So this cannot be 6. This can't be 6 because of the 3, 6 pair in the box. Where is the 6 in row 3? It has to be here. Because this 6 eliminates 6 from being here. One of these being a 6 eliminates 6 from being here. So this is a 6 then. The remaining digits here are 1, 4, and 8. Okay. This must be a prime number. This is a non-prime, and we have a prime number here, because again, this line alternates between primes and non-primes. If this were prime, that would force this to be non-prime, which would force that to be prime. But then we would have 5 primes in row 9, which is not possible. So this cannot be prime. This has to be non-prime, which forces this to be prime, non-prime, prime, non-prime. Therefore, this is 4, because that's the only non-prime consecutive with 3. This can't be 4 anymore. We have 2, 5, and 7 then remaining here. We have 5 non-primes in row 7, so therefore this must be a prime. This has to be 3, 5, or 7, which would be next to 4, 6, or 8, because 2 cannot be here. We have 4 primes in box 9, which means the rest of the digits are not prime. So these are not prime. What else are we looking for? We have 4 primes in row 5, which means the rest of the digits in row 5 are not prime. Let's see. One of these 2 digits must be prime and one must be non-prime. And we already have 4 non-primes in column 9. So therefore, this must be prime, which means there are 4 primes now in box 6, which eliminates primes from the rest of the box. So this must be non-prime. Similarly, we have one of these is prime and one of these is non-prime on this prime line. So, and we have 4 other non-primes, which forces this to be a prime then, because we have 5 primes accounted for in column 1. And then because we have 4 primes in box 4, this must be not prime. This is prime. Okay. We have one, again, similarly, in row 1, one of these 2 is prime and one is non-prime. One of these 2 digits is prime and non-prime. Therefore, we have 2 digits here are prime. One of these must be prime, and one of these must be prime. So we have 4 primes in row 1, which means this cannot be prime. And this cannot be prime, because we have all 4 prime numbers accounted for. They're already in row 1. That leaves, in column 3, we have 5 non-primes. So therefore, the last digit must be prime then, because we have all 5 non-prime numbers. Similarly, in column 7, I think I said row 3. This is column 3. This is column 7. We have 5 non-primes already, which means this must be a prime. And we have a 5, 7, 5, 7 pair here in column 7, which eliminates 5 and 7 in the rest of the column. This then can't be 5 or 7. It cannot be 3 because of the 3, 6 pair. Of the prime digits, then, this has to be 2, which forces this to be 3. Um, what else do we have? One of these is prime, one is non-prime. The remaining digits here in row 2 are 5, 7, and 9. Okay. Uh, one of those is going to be prime and one is going to be non-prime, but we don't know which one's which. Well, we probably need to start solving. Okay, this can't be 8 because of this 8, therefore this must be 6. What are... Okay. This is 2, 5, or 7. Okay, where is the 3 then in row 6? Cannot be any of the non-primes. Can't be here because of that 3. Can't be here because of that 3. Therefore, this is the 3 here. Where's the 3 in box 7? Cannot be here or here. Okay, this is a non-prime because we have 4 primes in box 7. Where is the 3 again in box 7? Cannot be here, cannot be here. It has to be in the prime, so it's one of these 2 digits, which means this cannot be 3. This has to be 2, which forces this to be 3. This 2 is consecutive only with 1 out of these, so this is 4, this is 1. This can't be 1. This 3 is in a 1 to 2 ratio with 6, so that makes that 6, which makes that 1. Okay. Where is the 6 in row 6? Can't be the prime number, so it must be one of these 2 digits. Where is the 6 in row 8? Can't be here because of the 6 in the box. Can't be here. And it has to be a non-prime number, so it's one of these 2 digits. Well, we know in row 6, the 6 has to be in column 7 or 8. In row 8, the 6 also has to be in column 7 or 8. That's 2 6s accounted for in that have to be in row 7 and 8. So the rest of row 7 and 8 cannot contain a 6. So this can't be 6. This must be 3, which forces this to be 6. This is prime. This is not prime, which must be next to a prime number, which must be next to a non-prime number. So this is 5 or 7 here. This can no longer be 3, so this is 5 or 7. We have a 5, 7, 5, 7 pair here. Where is 3 in box 9? Can't be any of these, can't be any of these. And it has to be a prime number, so it has to be this digit. So this is a 3, which means this can't be 3. This has to be a 3. 3 is only consecutive with 4 out of 4 and 8, so this must be 4. 6 is one of these 2, 6 is one of those 2. We have 1 and 9 remaining as non-prime numbers here. This cannot be 1 or 9. It cannot be 6. It could be 4 or 8 here. Okay. What are the remaining digits in row 7? It has to be 8 and 9. So this is 8 and 9. This is 8 and 9. What are the remaining digits in row 6? They have to be 2, 5, and 7. This is 5 and 7 because it can't be 2. This is 2, 5, or 7, and this is 2, 5, or 7. Where is the 2 in box 9? It has to be here as the only remaining unused prime digit. Therefore, this can't be 2. Where is the 2 in box 7? Can't be here, can't be here, it must be here. So this is 2, which means this can't be 2. Where is the 2 in box 4? Can't be any of these 5, 7 pairs, so it must be here, which leaves the 2 in box 6 to be here. So this is 2. So I think we have all the 2s now. Yep. Should we start potentially... The remaining digits in row 1 are 4, 7, 5, and 8. 4, 5, 7, 8. This can't be 4, though. Hmm. What digits are remaining in row 9? This has to be 5 or 7, and this must be 1 or 9, and this is 1 or 9. The remaining digits in... This has to be 5 or 7. This is 5, 7, 5, 7. Okay, so... Yeah, that's why I wanted to start coloring the 5, 7 pairs, because there's a lot of them, but... Actually, that might be best. Okay, so let's remove the blues. Well, let's just leave it here. One we're going to color green, we color the other one orange. So since this is orange, this can't be orange. This must be green, which makes that orange, which makes this green, which makes that orange. This orange means this can't be orange, so this is green, which makes that orange. Therefore, that makes this green, which makes this orange. This green means this can't be green, so this is orange, which makes that green. That makes that orange, which makes that green, which makes this orange. Therefore, this is green. Now, where is the green 5, 7? The green 5, 7 cannot be here, cannot be here, cannot be here. It has to be here. So this is the green 5, 7, and therefore is prime. Therefore, this is not prime and must be a non-prime digit, so it's 4 and 8. And therefore, this must be prime and is the orange. So this cannot be 9. Whereas the 9 here, it has to be here. This is non-prime. Okay, where are the ones? Maybe the ones can help. This can't be 1 because of this one, so this must be 9, which makes that a 1. This is 4, 6, or 8. Let's see. What other 9s do we have? 1 cannot be here, and 1 cannot be here, so this must be a 1 in box 4. That leaves this not as a 1, so this is 9, which makes that an 8, which makes that 4, which makes that an 8. The 1 can only be here now. Well, this 9 means this can't be 9, so this is 1. This 8 here means this can't be 8, so this is 9. Where is the 8 in box 4? Cannot be these two cells, so it must be here. Which means this cannot be 8. We have... The remaining digits here are 4 and 9. And either of those could be there. We have 4 and 8 here. And this is 4, 6, or 9 here. This can't be 4, though. This could be 4, 8, or 9, but it can't be 4, so this is 8 and 9 specifically. And this can't be 4, so this is a 6, 8, 6, 8 pair. Okay. 6 is consecutive with both 5 and 7. So the orange being there is fine. It's also consecutive with the green 5 or 7, so that's fine. Okay. Okay. If this is 7, if the green is 7, that would force this to be 8, which would make this 6, which would make this 4. Actually, I guess the better way of putting it is the green 5, 7 must be consecutive with 4 either way here, right? So it cannot be 7. So the green 5, 7 then, let's just remove all the blue. The green 5, 7 must be a 5 because it must be consecutive. 4 has to be consecutive with at least one of them, right? So this must be 5, which means the orange one is 7. 5 is not consecutive with 8, so it must be 4 here, which makes this a 6, which makes that 8, which makes that a 6, which makes that 9, and 8, and 4, and 8. This 4 eliminates that 4, so that's a 9, which leaves that as a 4. And that's how you solve the puzzle. And the reason why we knew one of these was a 4 was 4 cannot be here. And 4 has to be in the column, and it has to be in one of those two cells. And the green 5, 7 was next to both of them. So it would have to be next to a 4, and therefore it's a 5. Pretty cool puzzle, actually. I always like puzzles with coloring, and this required a decent amount of coloring, so that's always fun. And no, 1 is not a prime number. No, no, no. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this solve, and I'll see you next time on Frank Puzzles. Take care.